On my birthday, my family smiled as they handed me a gift. I thought it was something special until I opened it and found an eviction notice for my own house. I said nothing, but I made sure to return the favor on their wedding day. Hey Reddit, on my 32nd birthday, my family gathered at my house just like they always did. There were balloons taped sloppily around the kitchen, a grocery store cake with my name barely spelled right, and the same old awkward tension that came with my parents and siblings under one roof. I had bought this house 3 years ago. Every inch of it was paid for with my own money, years of saving, skipping vacations, working overtime, investing carefully. I didn't even ask for help with the down payment. I wanted a place to call mine, to build something for myself. And ironically, it had become the default party space for every family gathering. It didn't bother me at first. I wanted to host, to show I was finally doing well. But over the last year, something shifted. My younger brother, Kyle, 28M, moved back in with our parents after wrecking his credit and losing his job. My older sister, Jenna, 35F, had gone through a messy divorce and seemed to resent anything that reminded her of stability. And my parents? They'd started acting like the house belonged to all of us, as if my name on the deed was some minor technicality. Still, I kept the peace. It was my birthday, after all, I didn't want to argue. After we had eaten cake and my niece had spilled orange soda on the rug, Mom stood up and said, "We got you something special this year." Everyone grinned. Dad handed me a big flat box wrapped in gold paper. I remember the smirk on Kyle's face as I tore through it. For a brief second, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd done something heartfelt, a framed photo, maybe, a thank you card for always hosting. Inside was a manila envelope. I opened it slowly, confused. Then I saw it, a formal notice of eviction addressed to me from a law firm I'd never heard of. My heart stalled. I looked up at them, thinking it was some elaborate prank, but no one was laughing. My mom just kept that same neutral expression, like she was waiting for me to process it. "What is this?" I asked, my voice ice cold. Dad cleared his throat and said, "We've been talking, and we think it's time for some changes. Kyle and Amanda are expecting a baby, they need a place to stay, and this house has enough room." I blinked, stunned. I paid for this house. I live here alone. You want to kick me out so Kyle and his pregnant girlfriend can move in? Jenna chimed in like it was a town hall meeting. "It's not personal," she said. "But Kyle needs a fresh start, and you've had it good for a while. This is about family." Family. That word used like a shield to justify the absurd. Mom stepped in again. "You can come back home for a while until you figure things out." I stared at them, the room spinning slightly. I couldn't speak, not because I was afraid or unsure, but because I couldn't believe the depth of their entitlement. My own family, on my birthday, smiling while they tried to legally push me out of my own home. So I did what I always did, I stayed calm. I placed the envelope gently on the table, stood up, and thanked them for coming. I started cleaning up plates and wrapping leftover cake as if nothing had happened. That seemed to confuse them more than if I'd screamed. Eventually, they left, murmuring something about how I'd come around. But I wasn't confused. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was done. That night, I sat in my kitchen and ran through the situation. The legal document was a bluff, a mock-up from a fake firm. I looked it up. The firm didn't exist. They hadn't filed anything. It was intimidation, manipulation, and that meant they underestimated me. And that would be their mistake. Over the next few weeks, I distanced myself. I didn't pick fights, didn't post anything online, didn't warn them. I played the part, cold, distant, passive. While behind the scenes, I planned everything. Kyle and Amanda had a wedding coming up in 5 months. It was going to be a backyard event, you guessed it, at my house. They assumed I'd still host it even after the fake eviction stunt. Amanda texted me a full Pinterest board of decorations. My mom called to discuss chair rentals. Not once did they ask for permission. They assumed my silence meant surrender. They didn't realize it meant strategy. So I gave them what they wanted. I let them believe the house would still be theirs for the big day. I played the accommodating host. I even mowed the lawn twice a week just to keep up appearances. Meanwhile, I reached out to an attorney, a real one. I had a new will drawn up, updated property protections, and officially barred all 3 of them from future inheritance. I also installed a full security system around the property and made sure every square inch of the house, inside and out, was covered by legal, documented ownership in my name. A month before the wedding, I called Amanda and asked if they had all their final arrangements ready. She sounded so smug. "Oh, we're good. We just need access a few days before to start setting up. And don't forget the back gate, the florist said it'll be tight." I told her no problem. That weekend, I quietly booked a flight out of the country, a vacation I'd been postponing for years. I planned to leave 2 days before their wedding and return a week later. 3 days before their wedding, I locked the house, forwarded my calls, and got on a plane to Iceland. I never told anyone I was leaving. I only made one change to the house before I left. I called the local police department, gave them a copy of my ownership papers and security codes, and let them know that any attempt to enter the property without my presence or permission was to be treated as trespassing. By the time they showed up on my front lawn with trucks full of decor and catering gear, I was sitting in a hot spring, sipping something expensive, and watching the northern lights dance across the sky. My phone blew up, missed calls, voicemails full of rage. My mother sobbing. Jenna calling me a coward. Kyle threatening to break the door down. I didn't respond. When the police arrived, they had no choice but to leave. The wedding was ruined, and that was only the beginning. By the time I landed back home a week later, the dust had mostly settled, at least on the surface. My house stood exactly as I'd left it, clean, untouched, still mine. The wedding decorations were never unpacked. The backyard never trashed. Cameras had captured everything, from the moment Kyle tried hopping the fence to Amanda's furious breakdown when the cops told her to leave the property. Every second of their humiliation was backed up in cloud storage. And still, not a single word of apology. When I got home, I scrolled through all the messages. Amanda's mom had left me a voice note calling me a selfish man-child with no heart. Kyle accused me of ruining the most important day of his life and warned me that I'd better watch my back. My mother, and this part stung more than I expected, had the audacity to say I shamed the family. Not once did any of them mention the fake eviction notice or what they tried to pull. There was no accountability, only rage that their plan had failed. I could have ignored them forever. I had my house, my peace, and my freedom. But something in me wasn't finished yet. I'd spent most of my adult life being the calm one, the forgiving one, the provider. But after everything they pulled, I realized they didn't deserve my silence anymore. So I made my final move. I printed everything, the fake eviction notice, texts from Kyle about taking over the house, photos of them planning the wedding at my property without permission, voice messages, security camera stills. I put them into a thick binder labeled Attempted Family Hijack, 2025. Then I mailed 3 copies, one to my mother, one to Kyle, one to Jenna. No notes, no explanations, just evidence. And I made sure one additional copy found its way to Amanda's parents. I figured if Amanda wanted to marry into a family like that, she should at least have all the facts about the people she was dealing with. I didn't care what happened after that. I just wanted the truth to sit on their kitchen tables like an unexploded grenade. It didn't take long for the fallout to start. Kyle showed up at my front door the next day. He pounded on the door, yelling loud enough for my neighbors to hear. I didn't open it. I just turned on the speaker system connected to the front porch camera and calmly said, "You are trespassing. Leave now." He screamed that I destroyed his wedding, that I embarrassed him in front of Amanda's entire family, and that I was nothing but a bitter loser. I didn't reply. I just recorded it. He left after 15 minutes, a tantrum with no audience. A few days later, Jenna sent me a long email, no apology, just a passive-aggressive essay about how I'd changed, how I used to be the rock of the family, and how I'd let bitterness poison everything. I deleted it without replying. My mother called twice. The first time, I didn't answer. The second time, I picked up and let her speak. She tried to make excuses, said it was never meant to go that far, said she thought I'd understand, said she just wanted what was best for Kyle and the baby. I asked her one question: if it had worked, if I had been scared enough or manipulated enough to hand over my home, would you have stopped it? She didn't answer. That was enough. I ended the call and blocked her number. That was 6 months ago. Since then, I've changed the locks, reinforced the fence, and taken a serious look at what family really means. I've spent time with people who actually support me, coworkers who showed up when I was sick, friends who brought over dinner on lonely weekends, neighbors who checked in on me after the Kyle incident. And I found peace in solitude. No more uninvited guests, no more forced holidays, no more walking on eggshells in my own home. As for Kyle and Amanda, they ended up getting married at a local park, surrounded by plastic chairs, a cheap tent, and a lot of awkward silence. Amanda's parents didn't even show up. I heard from a mutual friend that things have been rocky ever since. Apparently, Amanda isn't thrilled about living with Kyle in his parents' basement. Jenna has been quieter. I think she finally realized that cutting me off meant cutting off one of the only stable people in her life. But I don't miss the drama. I don't miss the manipulation. I miss the idea of family, the version I held on to when I was young, but not the reality of what they became. I used to think keeping the peace meant keeping everyone close. Now I understand that peace sometimes means walking away. Let them call me selfish. Let them say I overreacted. I still live in my house. I still sleep well at night. And for the first time in years, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. My house is mine. My peace is earned. And my silence is permanent.